My guy, Napoleon, happy to have you back, my man.
Happy to be back, bro. At this point, I might need some shares in the Art of Dialogue channel.
Yeah, man. I mean, you've been on the platform a lot, man. We did about 10 or more interviews, man. So,
Yeah, we did. We've been doing them. We've been, yearly. We knock out a few.
yeah, man, it's crazy. But this time around, right, I want to take a different angle. Me and you, we did so many interviews. I want to ask you more questions from the fans and get your, response to that, if that's cool.
That's dope. This is the first time I did an interview like that, so I'm excited. Let's do it.
Yes, indeed. So, with that being said, man, I want to get right into it. Someone wanted me to ask you about Tupac cousin, William Lassane. How you feel about him not believing Fat Joe's story about having Puerto Ricans in prison look out to Tupac?
Yeah, so William Lassane, we call him Big Bill. That's family right there. And I seen the interview, because I'm a fan of your channel, so I see most of the interviews you drop. So I kind of got what Bill was saying, where he was saying, people got to understand what Fat Joe said because I was there. I heard it out of Pac mouth saying that Fat Joe Peoples held me down. So people gotta realize what held me down mean. Held me down mean looking out. You know what I mean? Like so, for example, if somebody just say he goes something to drink. He held me down. I was thirsty. He goes some money in my pocket. He held me down when I ain't had nothing in my pocket. So he never said that his people protected him. From what I know, I don't know if he said in the interview that I didn't see, but what Pot told us is that his people held me down. So Pot never said that his people protected him, that he needed help from him. I'm not sure if Fat Joe said that. You know what I mean in the interview, but from what Pac said is that his Puerto Rican people held me down when I was locked up. So I understand what Bill was saying when he clarified that Pac definitely didn't need no protection in prison because he did have some good people around him. So I want to clarify that part, what I heard from what Pac told me. You know,
How did that conversation come up with Pac?
I'm trying to think how it came up. That was a good. That's a good question. I'm not sure exactly how it came up, but I do remember Pac just saying, when I was locked up north, his people held me down. A lot of Puerto Ricans up there knew him, maybe was from his hood, and he was like, man, they held me down. So Pac never once said when he was in prison he needed protection. So I'm gonna clarify that just so that I don't think a lot. See, Fat Joe get a lot of slack, bro. And it was funny because I was just here with one of Kanye's boys from I think he's from Boston, but I met him with Kanye West when they visit Saudi Arabia. He's back in town, and he was actually in the studio here. And he was like, man, I was around when Fat Joe was a problem for people. So a lot of people thinking Fat Joe be capping. But for those who really know, like Fat Joe really was saying, I don't know if people think he just making up stories, but I don't think he have a reason to make up any story. But Fat Joe really, at his time, he was really known as an individual that was really from the streets. Um, I'm not saying that Pac called him for some help because the Pac that I know is not going to call anyone from what I know and say I need help. And Pac said he held me down. And I don't think Fat Joe ever said that. That you know what I mean? That Pac called him for protection or something like that. So I'm not sure if that's what he said. And if he said it, I think he probably, explained it in a way that he must have felt. If like I don't recall Pac ever saying he had an issue with with anyone in prison. I went to prison with even Bill a few times myself. I was underage and I had to travel to the prison a few times with Bill. Pac never once said he had any issues, not even with the Puerto Ricans. Like I said, people have to understand when he said held me down, that just mean look out for me. You know what I mean? So when you hear a street dude say, man, he held me down, that mean he just showed me they was basically, in other words, you can say held me down mean they showed me love while I was in prison.
You ain't never tell me that. So you was at the prison with William Lassane. Like, how was that like?
We was going to the prison all the time. Myself and the outlaws, other family members, other friends. Pac was getting visits, weekly. He was getting a lot of visit weekly. So, we was there most of the time. So a few of them trips I took with Bill. I think we got caught up in Canada because he was up north. So one of the times we went in, Bill know the story better than me. I just forget what happened, but they didn't let us through Canada because I was a minor and I was traveling with Bill, and they had us like we were some immigrants, man. Put us in this like locked us up for a day, then kicked us out. Yeah. And even when I go to Canada to this day, they always bring up these small little. They bring that up in the system. They hold me for hours in immigration. Um, but we went up there a few times, many times. I think Pac was locked up close to a year. And, we moved from Atlanta to New Jersey. The Outlaws were staying at my grandmother's house. So when we went to New Jersey, the Outlaws, Edie Castro, D Boy, which is Pac and them cousin from North Carolina, they were staying at my grandmother's house in Irvington. Believe it or not, you know what I mean? Edie was out there hustling with us in Irvington. So we was in Irvington, New Jersey, because that was easier for us to go visit Pac.
Is there anything you recall Pac telling you that stood out or no?
I think Pac prison, when he got locked up, he was going to do a transition, bro, because before he got locked up, Pac was, and he mentioned to us, he said, I know I heard him say this. I don't know if the rest of the Outlaws remember, but he said that he never thought a black person would be the one that, try to harm him or shoot him. Because his music was dedicated to the people in the struggle. He felt like after he got shot, it changed something in him. And going to visit him in prison, I seen that. I seen that he started and you gotta understand, that's a natural reaction to people trying to harm you, kill you. Got shot 5 times. A woman is saying he did something he didn't do. This is trauma that you're gonna have to, you gotta face it. So most of us, when we from the hood or we from the in the ghetto, and we fight back to these traumas. You know what I mean? So naturally, when people be saying these things, oh, he changed. Of course, he's gonna change. Somebody try to blow his head off. Who not gonna change when an individual come to blow your head off? You know what I mean? When a woman said you done something you didn't do, and then go to prison for this. So Pac gets shot. Now he's in prison. His mindset started changing. I know he always had that militant side of him, but he became more militant, and like he became more structured, you know. Even when he was writing letters to people in prison, like if he'd write us or he'd write anybody, he was doing more of what you would see in LA gang culture, where they would write their enemy's name or the enemy hood and they would cross it out. You know what I mean? And he would do stuff like that. He'd write you a letter. It can be talking about anything, but at the bottom of the letter is gonna have probably Biggie name crossed out, Puffy name crossed out, Bad Boy Killer written on it, that he was picking up from like LA street culture. And he was dead serious because at that particular time he thought these was an individual that was out to hurt him, you know?